He dressed in his jellyfishing gear, said goodbye to Gary, his pet snail, and headed out the door. As SpongeBob walked through the streets of Bikini Bottom, he realized that something was different. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Here, we bring you engaging and informative content on a variety of topics. Whether you're here to learn something new, or simply looking to be entertained, we've got you covered. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community. In this video, we will listen to SpongeBob's adventure story entitled Lost in Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob's Journey Home. SpongeBob Squarepants woke up one morning with excitement in his heart. He had planned to go jellyfishing with his best friend, Patrick Star, and he couldn't wait to spend the day catching the elusive creatures. He dressed in his jellyfishing gear, said goodbye to Gary, his pet snail, and headed out the door. As SpongeBob walked through the streets of Bikini Bottom, he realized that something was different. The familiar landmarks and buildings that he had seen every day of his life were nowhere to be found. He looked around, bewildered, and saw nothing but strange sights and sounds. SpongeBob felt his heart race with fear as he realized that he was lost. He had no idea how to get back home. And the thought of never seeing his friends and family again made him feel even more anxious. He walked around, hoping to find someone who could help him, but no one seemed to recognize him. He felt alone and scared as he wandered through the unfamiliar territory of Bikini Bottom. Just then, he heard a friendly voice calling out to him. It was a group of fish who had noticed SpongeBob looking lost and disoriented. They introduced themselves and offered to help him find his way back home. SpongeBob was relieved to have found some new friends, but he couldn't help feeling nervous about the long journey back home. He knew that it would be a difficult and dangerous trip, but he was determined to make it back to his beloved pineapple house. SpongeBob followed the group of fish as they swam through the winding streets of Bikini Bottom. He was amazed by the new sights and sounds that he encountered, and he realized that there was so much about his home that he had never known. As they swam, SpongeBob began to talk with his new friends and learn about their lives in Bikini Bottom. They showed him around the different areas of the city and introduced him to some of their favorite spots. SpongeBob was amazed by the diversity of life in Bikini Bottom. He saw schools of brightly colored fish, sea anemones that swayed in the current, and even a group of jellyfish that seemed to be dancing to their own music. As they swam, SpongeBob and his new friends became fast friends. They joked and laughed, and SpongeBob felt his fears of being lost slowly slipping away. Finally, they arrived at a beautiful coral reef that was hidden away from the rest of the city. The fish explained that this was their favorite spot to relax and unwind after a long day in Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob was touched by the kindness and hospitality of his new friends. He realized that he had always been so focused on his own life in Bikini Bottom that he had never taken the time to get to know the other creatures that lived there. As they rested in the coral reef, SpongeBob knew that he had made some lifelong friends. Even though he was still far from home, he felt happy and content, knowing that he was not alone in his journey through Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob and his new friends continued their journey through Bikini Bottom, but soon they encountered a new challenge. They came across a treacherous stretch of water that was infested with dangerous sea creatures. SpongeBob's new friends warned him about the dangers of the area and advised him to turn back. But SpongeBob was determined to continue on his journey and find his way back home. As they swam through the dangerous waters, they were suddenly ambushed by a giant squid that seemed determined to attack them. SpongeBob and his friends tried to flee, but the squid was too fast and too strong. In a moment of bravery, SpongeBob decided to take on the squid himself. He swam straight towards it, dodging its tentacles as he went. With all his might, SpongeBob managed to grab the squid and toss it far away from his friends. The group continued on their journey, but soon they encountered another challenge. This time, they came across a powerful current that threatened to pull them off course. SpongeBob's new friends were afraid, but SpongeBob remembered his training in boating school. He came up with a plan to navigate through the current and lead his friends to safety. With SpongeBob's leadership, they managed to make it through the current and continue on their journey. Even though SpongeBob was homesick and scared, he knew that he had to be strong for his friends and face whatever challenges came his way. As they continued their journey, SpongeBob and his friends stumbled upon some strange clues that seemed to lead towards his home. They found a discarded Krusty Krab wrapper and a trail of seashells that seemed to be leading in a specific direction. SpongeBob's heart raced with excitement as he realized that they might be getting close to his home. He urged his friends to follow the trail of clues and keep moving forward. As they followed the trail of seashells, SpongeBob noticed that they were getting closer and closer to his beloved pineapple house. He could feel his excitement building as he realized that he was getting closer to being reunited with his friends and family. Finally, they arrived at the entrance to SpongeBob's neighborhood. SpongeBob was overjoyed to see his familiar surroundings, and he ran towards his pineapple house as fast as he could. When he arrived at his house, SpongeBob found his friends and family waiting for him. They had been searching for him all day and were relieved to see him safe and sound. SpongeBob's friends and family hugged him tightly, and SpongeBob realized how much he had missed them during his journey through Bikini Bottom. He was grateful for his new friends and the adventures that he had experienced, but he knew that there was no place like home. As they sat together, SpongeBob shared his journey with his friends and family. He told them about the challenges he had faced and the new friends he had made along the way. In the end, SpongeBob realized that even though he had been lost, he had found so much more than just his way back home. He had discovered the true beauty and diversity of Bikini Bottom, and he had made lifelong friends who would always be by his side. SpongeBob was finally back in his pineapple home, but he knew that his adventure wasn't over yet. He still had to overcome one final obstacle, finding his way back to the Krusty Krab and returning to his job as a fry cook. SpongeBob was determined to make it back to work on time, but he encountered a series of challenges along the way. He had to navigate through a crowded downtown area and avoid getting distracted by all of the sights and sounds of Bikini Bottom. As he swam towards the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob encountered a group of bullies who were determined to prevent him from getting to work. They taunted him and tried to block his path, but SpongeBob refused to back down, with his new friends by his side. SpongeBob stood up to the bullies and refused to let them stop him from achieving his goals. He used his quick wit and creativity to outsmart the bullies and find a way around their obstacles. Finally, SpongeBob made it to the Krusty Krab just in time for his shift. He was greeted warmly by his boss, Mr. Krabs, and his coworkers, and he felt a sense of pride knowing that he had overcome so many obstacles to get back to his job. As he flipped burgers and made Krabby Patties, SpongeBob couldn't help but reflect on his journey through Bikini Bottom. He knew that he had grown stronger and more resilient through his experiences, and he felt grateful for the friendships he had made along the way. In the end, SpongeBob realized that even though life was full of obstacles, he had the strength and determination to overcome anything that came his way. He felt grateful for his home, his job, and most of all, his friends and family who had always been there to support him. After his adventure through Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob was grateful to be back in his comfortable pineapple home. He had learned so much about himself and the world around him, but he was ready to settle back into his normal routine. As he lounged on his couch, SpongeBob felt a sense of peace and contentment wash over him. He He was surrounded by his friends and family, and he felt like he was exactly where he was meant to be. But as the days passed, SpongeBob began to realize that he was missing something. He had spent so much time exploring Bikini Bottom and making new friends that he had neglected some of the important relationships in his life. He knew that he had to make things right. So he made a list of all the people he wanted to reconnect with. He called his old pal Sandy Cheeks, who he hadn't spoken to in weeks, and they made plans to catch up over a picnic in Jellyfish Fields. SpongeBob also realized that he had been neglecting his duties as a good neighbor. He went around his neighborhood and offered to help his friends with their chores and errands, and he even threw a surprise party for his grouchy neighbor, Squidward Tentacles. As he spent time with his friends and neighbors, SpongeBob felt like he was finally back to his old self. He realized that he didn't have to go on wild adventures to find happiness. Sometimes, it was right in front of him all along. In the end, SpongeBob felt grateful for his journey through Bikini Bottom and all of the new experiences and friendships he had gained. But he also felt a renewed appreciation for the comfort and familiarity of his own home and the people he loved most. SpongeBob had gone on a wild adventure through Bikini Bottom, made new friends, and overcome many obstacles. But now, he was ready to settle back into his quiet life in his beloved pineapple home. As he lounged on his couch, SpongeBob realized that his home wasn't just a place to live, it was a reflection of who he was. His pineapple was colorful, cozy, and filled with all of his favorite things, from his collection of seashells to his trusty spatula. SpongeBob decided to make some changes to his home to make it even more special. He painted the walls a bright shade of yellow, hung up some new artwork, and added a few more shelves to display his prized possessions. As he worked on his home improvement projects, SpongeBob couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. He loved his home, and he was grateful for all of the memories he had created there. But as the days went on, SpongeBob began to realize that his home wasn't just a place to hang out, it was also a place to share with others. He started inviting his friends over for game nights, movie marathons, and even impromptu dance parties. SpongeBob realized that his home was a reflection of his own spirit of joy and positivity. He wanted to share that with others and make everyone who entered his pineapple feel just as happy and comfortable as he did. In the end, SpongeBob realized that his home wasn't just a physical space, it was a reflection of who he was and the values he held dear. He felt grateful for his home, his friends, and all of the experiences that had led him to this moment of contentment and happiness. Thanks for watching our videos. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and leave a comment with your thoughts. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. We appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you in the next video.